everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. We are going to talk all about virtual events and how you can create those either using our online campaigns or just how to host your events online. We know that in this time, so many of you are having to do that. So we want to give you our best tips and tricks to help you with that and to just navigate this still weird season. So to talk about that today, we have our Donate founder, Steve Roseman. And if you do not know, he is also the founder of WEDO Charity Auctions, which is an event company for nonprofits. So he helps nonprofits host events all the time, has been doing that for 10 plus years. He has even more than that experience of throwing his own events. So he is very, very knowledgeable in this nonprofit space, but especially when we're talking about events. So I wanted to make sure that he was on here and giving you all of his great expertise. So I will go ahead and let him take the wheel from here, but please, if you have any questions, be sure to chat them in our chat and I will be sure to answer them as we're going. But we also will have a time at the end to answer any questions as well. So without further ado, Steve.
Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate everybody being on. Yeah, just a little context. If we've not had a chance to talk intimately, not only did I launch WEDO Charity Auctions, I don't know, 10 or so years ago. The standing joke is I got to look on LinkedIn to actually remember when I launched the company, stuff like that. But which is true, by the way. But I got into the nonprofit world not knowing anything about events. I started my first nonprofit when I was 28 years old. And at that time, I'd gone to one nonprofit event ever when it came to like a gala style or what we're talking about here for fundraising. Obviously, I'd gone to walks and things like that, but I didn't know much. At the end of the day, I started a nonprofit in memory of my grandfather. I wanted to honor him. And so I just wanted to get creative, do something fun. The only strategies that I knew about were from my fraternity days and growing up Irish Catholic. So I knew how to throw a fun party. So that was my strategy. From there, I don't know if my first event ever was based on, I didn't want to be like everybody else. I didn't want to invite people to another sit down black tie gala that was very boring. And if you host one of those right now, there's nothing wrong with that. And well, I guess there is if you want people to actually attend, at least if they're under the age of 60. So we can't keep doing the same stuff over and over, right? So even at the age of 28, throwing my first event. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the movie, what was that? How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Is that the one with Matthew McConaughey and stuff like that? So at the end of that movie, somewhere at the end of the movie, they all went to this big event that a jewelry company was hosting and people got to stick on a piece of jewelry. And the tagline was Frost Yourself. If you do some research, my very first gala I ever threw was called Frost Yourself. I copied the theme. I found a jeweler. So when all of my attendees showed up, they all got to stick on a piece of jewelry and wear it around. It turned into not one piece because women would come in and say, I want that, 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 and that. And so they're all blinged out. And so we had a lot of fun. We didn't know what we were doing. It was a little chaotic, but at the end of the day, people really loved the theme. And by the 5th year, so many people came up to me and were like, what's the name of the organization again for Frost Yourself? Like I branded the event so well that they wanted to come to Frost Yourself. The benefit when they got there, I was able to educate them on the organization and then so on and so forth. So right now in today's world, more than ever, yes, obviously our cause is important. But I'm going to guess to believe if you're throwing an event, virtual or not, that's not correct. Everybody who attends is not going to be highly focused on supporting you as a main cause, right? Because if that was the premise, our numbers would always be down. And part of event fundraising is to attract new. So let's go with half of your audience are going to be past donors. And our goal is to keep them entertained. So it's not the same thing that they went to last year or they attended online last year. The second goal is to make sure that the new people coming in, they had so much fun, they were so entertained that they want to find out more, whether that's track the success of that event or when's the next one happening. They had so much fun online that they actually want to attend the one in person when that happens, hopefully sooner than later. So, what happened in this last, I don't know, I guess we are coming up on March. It's crazy to think COVID's really been almost a year-long thing for us. But what we started to do early, and Courtney was actually a part of this, and we started to work. And as Courtney mentioned, I also own a company called WEDO Charity Auctions. This is what I've done almost every day of my life for the last 12 years or so, is consult and work with nonprofits to throw these events. Because of COVID, obviously, most of them went online. What I can say is if you did not do a virtual event, do a virtual event. You might not want to hear this, but it's selfish if you don't. Because it's not always about raising money. Because if I support a nonprofit and I didn't hear from them once or see them once through COVID, two things are going through my mind. One is, are they even still around? And two, why aren't they communicating with me so I know that they've been able to make it through this? Because if I care about them, I want to help them get through this. So don't be selfish. I talked to an organization, I don't know, it was like 3 months ago, and they were calling to say they were not going to do an event with WeDo. And after the conversation, they're like, you know what, Steve, you really inspired me to do some type of an event. I don't know what it's going to be, but we need to do something for our supporters. So understand there's different types of events. Some are to raise money and some are for awareness. I just want to talk about really one type of thing that we can use specifically with Donate that worked really, really well. And I'm going to ask Courtney when I get to those to just kind of pop them up, show people some excitement or some results. But one specifically, the Brandon Foundation, the focus was an auction. So everything was based around a live event and an auction. COVID hit, they couldn't do it. So what we did is we created a strategy so that we shifted them over to Donate, because what they wanted to do was a school. And so what they wanted to do was a peer-to-peer online fundraising event. If you're not familiar with peer-to-peer, super simple. All that means is I'm a charity. I'm going to get my advocates, volunteers, board members, what have you, to raise money on my behalf. So peer to peer. Steve Roseman, board member, is just going to throw my campaign page to all my friends and family. And if they care enough about me and that cause, hey, here's $20, here's $100. The reason why it works is because most of the time they don't, and I know you don't want to hear this, but they don't even care about the charity. They just know I do, and they want to support me. That's why peer-to-peer works. Right now, my son's school is in the middle one, but this is the Brandon Foundation. So if you notice, and I don't know if you can see with your window, we went from a virtual or a silent auction where they were going to try to manipulate the system. They were going to try to put all these kids into the boxes where it references items. So it's probably not good to call a kid an item. And then instead of donate, it was going to say bid. So we probably don't want to call kids items and bid on kids. Now, obviously, we can explain why it says that. They were manipulating the system. We decided not to. We shifted them over to donate. And if you see here, their goal, let me see if I can move this. Their goal is 100 grand. And I don't know, Courtney, do you remember how long they ran this event? I mean, they raised $94,000. And what was the date of this? Do you remember? Is it on here? I know.
It looks like it's a open date based on this, but I think if I remember correctly, it was about a month.
Yeah, 94 grand during COVID in 30 days.
Yeah, they had a live date of June 6th, but I think they started this in May or maybe even April.
Yeah. So what I want to show here that's really, really important that they did a good job. So if you go up, they have a nice banner. They added a bunch of pictures because that's the emotionally engaging aspect of an online auction. You can't just throw up your logo and emotionally engage anyone. So you have the capability. They even have videos in there. But if you scroll down on top of the images, they highlight things. They tell you exactly what certain dollar amounts go to things. I was talking to somebody about this, I think it was yesterday. If you do a campaign, right, and you don't, I don't have a deep interest in your cause. But when I go to identify, because I'm just going to give $50, you're my friend, I'll support you, here's $50. But then I see this and realize, wait a minute, $100 can do X. So that's 6 weeks of a basketball and dance lessons for a kid. I don't know, as a parent, I know how expensive that stuff and how hard it is to be able to get your kids and all that. Okay, you know what? Here's $100. So just simply because I knew what one little more level would get, I would increase my donation. That happens all the time. So as you scroll down, what they did a really good job is there's some videos, but if you go to the bottom, they kept people engaged. So here they use the leaderboard. Hold on one second. The leaderboard is really going to be the fun part. So anybody you have competitive, like Rebecca versus Katie there, if you have a competitive person, Katie is going to start raising more money so Rebecca doesn't beat her. Now, and that's in one team. So if you have teams competing, that's a perfect scenario for peer-to-peer online fundraising. Peer-to-peer right now is probably the most popular talked about fundraising tool online currently. I think I just said online twice in the same sentence, but and then if you go down below, this is the magic. So these are the stories, the updates, the things that they're doing to help people understand why this is so important. We talked about this in a previous webinar, that people are not going to study and read your website. Not unless they want to dive in because they're ready to go all in. They're just going to breeze your website. Oh, they're just like every other school. Yeah, my kid goes to school, I'll just donate to his. But instead, going through here saying, okay, you know what, that's not much, so let me donate to that. I really get a sense of who these kids are, what the stories are, and how I can help. So that's the key with really online fundraising, especially using a peer-to-peer thing. The only other aspect that I want to talk about is that creativity, because it goes back to this. I don't know. We've all dealt with somebody coming to us, somebody's kid coming to us, asking us to buy things that we don't want. It's somebody that's close to us, and then you feel bad for not donating. It's really easy to fix that if you make it fun. Fun is not knocking on my door, selling me crappy popcorn for $25. I'm not mentioning the organization, but we all know the organization. They came out with trash bags. I'd rather buy trash bags for overpriced because I'm at least going to use the trash bags, right? I don't know. There's just so many things out there. I think they actually still do bake sales, I think, and like cookie dough and things like that, which is, I don't know, for some reason, I feel like that's a health concern, but people tell me, no, it's not, it's okay. I still don't believe that. Eating raw cookie dough, that doesn't make sense to me. But my point is not fun. It's just, I make fun of it. It's not creative. And so one of the things we were talking about yesterday in a meeting, that if you're a school, because we're talking about that one specific topic, why don't you do things that can involve the kids? Because you really think a 12-year-old kid is excited about a peer-to-peer page and going and talking to their uncle and aunt? Not at all. Just another thing they have to do. But if you can get them excited about doing it, the fundraising is going to go up. So we talked about TikTok. Can't say I know much about TikTok. All I know about TikTok is it's exploding, and a lot of it has to do with dancing, and I don't know what else it has to do with besides dancing, and a lot of people are on it. I think the reality is it's entertaining, right? So because it's entertaining, you have, I don't know, is there an age limit to TikTok? Like little kids can be on there. I know with like Facebook, you're not supposed to be on there until like you're 13 or something like that. I don't know. But so we came up with an idea a couple months ago, and we talked about it again yesterday, a peer-to-peer fundraiser where it's a TikTok like 30-second dance competition where there's rewards, there's giveaways. I mean, think about it. If you had, I don't know, if we got Riley to go do a 30-second little dance TikTok thing, and then I got my family to do it. So now it's not just one person and one person. Now we're getting families involved. We're getting little cheerleader dance groups involved. Maybe, you'll see some fun. I don't know, you go overboard and it's like, okay, let's get jocks involved. You get a whole wrestling team who, to see them all dance together would be funny and almost impossible to achieve. So getting votes along with the donations, just trying to get that creative, because that's what you need to do. Courtney can attest to this, especially through WEDO. There were so many virtual events last year that were not events. Let's get real. They just weren't events. They were online presentations. Now, by default, everybody, all nonprofits got a pass last year in 2020, because donors looked at it as, hey, I know you're just trying to do anything you can to raise some money. And I get it. I mean, like I said, I service this world. And so you got a pass, right? So that's great. But you're not going to get a pass in 2021. We're already hearing a lot of buzz and talking to a lot of people saying, I cannot watch another one of those. Just send me a link and I'll donate, but I don't want to watch one of those. So you're going to spend a lot of effort and a lot of time and money into producing something that nobody's going to watch. We all know that's not a good idea. So I don't know. I like the TikTok dance competition things. I think it's funny. And it was my idea a long time ago, so I like my own ideas by default. I don't know. We can brainstorm about a bunch of stuff. I mean, what was another one that we talked about? Create competitions around it, and the people who are participating, they need to be excited about it, and rewards always work. Amazon gift cards with kids, pizza, if it's a school, pizza parties, pajama days. I know my son's school is doing that right now. And it's just not hard to do. I don't know, Courtney, do you have any ideas? I know we've talked about a number of them, but for some reason, the dance competition stuff really sticks out to me.
Yeah, we actually last year created a whole like download presentation of some fun idea, and not necessarily just events, but some ways you can engage your supporters. So like you said, we've just seen a lot of nonprofits get creative. So we had a nonprofit InterSystem that was a therapeutic writing organization, and they it was kind of an event, but they called it Pony Plop. So they had on their land, they created squares and numbered the squares. And so what people could do was somebody could buy a square, I think for like $10, $5 even maybe. And then they would release a horse out into the field, and whatever square that the horse pooped on, that person received a prize or a gift or something. So it was super popular. I mean, all of the squares got bought up within like a day, I think. And so they raised that money, but then it was just a fun thing that didn't take them a ton of time or effort to plan. It was just shooting that message out, and they got a little bit of extra cash. So just fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
We've talked about like
they raised like $1,500 or something, and it was
super easy,
super fast. Yep. Being creative. That's the stuff that it's. I mean, I forgot all about that till you just referenced it. But I remember when I heard that, not only did I laugh, so emotionally engaging and entertaining, but they did it fast. It wasn't something they spent a lot of time on, so I don't know, stuff that pops in my head, like especially if it's a younger group. I know people watch those trick shot videos all the time. I know there's actually a show now on TV, but you see like the bottle flipping type of things. Think about how you can turn that into a fundraiser. You go out and you find companies to sponsor and match. Those are huge things right now that are super productive. Right now, if I were you and you're trying to raise online money, it's not necessarily, and I hate to say this, because I own a mobile bidding company, but for some organizations, not everybody's going to be able to go out and get auction items. I mean, that's a skill set in itself. So if you don't have that ability, you need to use something like a peer-to-peer tool, or raffles, things like that. Raffles, it's different in every state. So I can't speak to any one state on that. The laws are different, but try to use the time of year, what's going on that time of year. So right now, I don't know, it's just cold in winter and there's really nothing going on right now. But if it's like 4th of July, create themes around 4th of July, Christmas, things of that nature. But try to use that to your advantage when you're planning. And the other thing is, don't try to do it last minute and think that you're going to get a big result. If you're going to do a last minute thing, expect last minute results. Somebody I was reaching out to the other day, and they're like, yeah, we'll get back with you on an event this spring. They said they'd get back to us about 30 days before they plan on launching it. And I'm like, we don't even work with anybody in that 30-day window because it's too stressful. It's stressful on everybody. So I don't know. That's my advice when it comes to online fundraising. Please, the last tip, please don't think that you're going to entertain somebody for an hour and a half. Talk about this all the time. 35 to 40 minutes max if you're going to do a virtual event. Now, when I say virtual event and that duration, I'm talking about screen time. It's a very simple example. There is a reason why Disney movies and Hollywood no longer have 2-hour movies because they cannot keep our attention for that long. So now movies are around an hour and 20, an hour and 30. So for you to think that you can hold somebody's attention for an hour, hour and a half, sorry, I don't know you, but no, you can't. So maybe somebody can. There's some funny people out there, I guess, but the majority, and that's who we're speaking to right now, don't think that you can do that. Respect the people at home. Respect their world, right? If in my world, everybody who knows me knows I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old running around. You think you're going to get my attention for an entire hour on a Friday and Saturday night? You're crazy. But what you can get is a quick, 25 to 30 minutes. I'll probably be in and out. You should respect that and know that that's part of the virtual game and cater to that. So that's my only tip when it comes to virtual. If you're going to do a peer-to-peer, timelines, anywhere 7 days, maybe 14. I would not do any more than 30. Two things happen when you go past, even get up to 30 or past 30. One, people are not going to stay engaged that long. Two, the amount of effort that you will have to put in to keep somebody like me engaged to raise money for you for 30 days is insane. One of my mentors used to do 30-day challenges, dropped it down to 7 for that sole reason. He used to have to take time off and vacations after 30 days because he exerted so much energy in that 30-day window that it was just exhausting. So keep that in mind. That helps you and the people who are out there raising money on your behalf. Challenges are a big thing. I know we've done a challenge before. I don't know if we've actually done a course on it. If we haven't, and Courtney can correct me, I can't remember if we did. I know later in the year, not only are we going to be hosting a big challenge, not only for nonprofits, but also businesses, but we're also going to teach how a nonprofit can use challenge-based fundraising for fundraising. So does anybody have any questions? That's really, I just want to tackle that real quick. It's 11:26. I know we got started a little late, but I think that's that 20-minute mark that we were trying to really hone in on. Good?
Any questions, ideas, anything you want to share?
All right. Well, know that you have my contact information. It's just steve@donate.com. Feel free to reach out. Same with Courtney@donate.com. We don't get too crazy with our emails, so feel free to reach out and we'll rock and roll. Have a good day, everybody.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here.